This is a solo Grandmaster Nightfall and I've had enough of his ads. Time to die with my Stormcaller build. Okay, what's going on guys? This is your new Season of the Lost Stormcaller build for the Warlock, and this is one that I've wanted to cover for a while now, since we did have a buff to one of the Warlock's exotics, but TLDR, fast supers, fast abilities, storm, call, everything. This is going to be a fairly quick build, but before we do start, this video is sponsored by Awaya, so as always, if you want cheap silver, visit them below and use my code DIVIDE when checking out. And now guys, rate, comment your thoughts on this build below, and let's start. So this is your updated Warlock Stormcaller build for Season 15, and what this build basically does is give you faster supers than normal, as well as abilities, and you can use this build for fast effective ad clearing regardless of what activity you're playing. Now straight away I'm going to say that you're best using this build in activities up to Master, but you really shouldn't use this in a Grandmaster Nightfall like I was testing it in, because when you're going up against tougher ads or mages, you're probably going to get yourself killed because you're not unstoppable. Now if this isn't the build for you, then be sure to check out the playlist of builds below because I have a ton of other options you may like. But here's your usual example of how you'd use the build. First, have your super ready naturally over time, as well as already being charged light. When you're ready for clearing some ads, activate your super and do just that. When your super ends, you should automatically be given up to 50% of energy, depending on the amount of kills you get. Then just top off the rest of that energy by chaining kills with your grenade, melee and primary weapon that generates super energy, whilst also picking up orbs and elemental wells. All of these combined should get your super within about 20 seconds after using your super. Just make sure you are picking up those elemental wells or you might just run into a few slight issues. So that is your basic overview, and now setting up this build, starting with that loadout option, you want to use a weapon that can generate super energy. This could be weapons that come with a fresh perk or a bad juju, which can also generate super energy. But if you're going into those activities like Nightfalls, where you may have champions, then you'll also want to make room to slot on those champion mods that you need. Now for the subclass, we will be running a bottom tree Stormcaller or Stormtrance, and you can use the top tree if you want, but bottom tree does come with Rise and Storm, where your melee will give you super, grenade and melee energy when you use it. Then we have Arc Soul, which can be pretty useful in easy content, but also pointless in harder modes. And the last thing to note is the Electrostatic Surge, where your Rift lasts longer and it charges faster when allies are near. So this subclass does have a few nice perks to it, but slot on an Arcbolt Grenade as these are pretty good for chaining arc damage. Moving on though, the exotic we are going to be using is the Stormdancers Brace. What this does is allow each target you defeat with the Stormtrance to increase the damage you deal with it and refund super energy when the super ends, which is up to 50% depending on the amount of kills you get with it. Last season this wasn't actually a thing, so it's quite nice that they buffed this exotic slightly, and it is definitely worth using if you are going to use the Stormcaller subclass specifically to get fast supers. But as for the main mods, we will be using Elemental Ordnance to spawn elemental wells when defeating enemies with our grenade, and then picking up that well will give us 2 stacks of charge light, as we'll be using elemental charge. The third mod will be Well of Potency, which is this season's artifact mod, so that we can get super energy when picking up those wells, and then the last 2 mods will be Firepower, to regain a portion of our grenade when we use our grenade. This just helps us get that grenade back a bit quicker, and you can use just one if you want to, or even use the heavy-handed mod and instead go with melees, but either way you want your grenade and melee back as quick as possible, as we will be using those abilities to generate extra super energy. As for the normal mods, we do have 2 hands-on for bonus super energy on melee kills, but you can swap these out to ashes to assets if you want to. But for the gauntlets we have double grenade kickstart mods to get grenade energy when we use it, but again swap these to champion mods if you need to, but these mods do have to be slotted into stasis armor. Now for the chest armor we are using the damage resistant mod, which for me will be concussive dampener, and then for the legs I have double grenade cooldown mods for when we pick up orbs of power. But lastly for the class armor, we are using bomber to reduce grenade cooldown when we use our rift ability, but if you're going into more difficult activities then I'd recommend using a fusion rifle with the particle deconstruction mod this season. Definitely a top tier mod to use, but that stat I'd max out would be either discipline or strength, depending what sort of ability you want to go with as your main. Now with this build, you really want to ideally use it in easy content like strikes, gambit, seasonal activities, and that sort of stuff for ad clearing. You can still take this into endgame, although you will have to be really careful and play it smart, because if you rush into a bunch of ads with champions around, you're probably just going to get yeeted off the map or something, and honestly, there are a lot of better builds for the endgame, so if you want to see those other top tier builds in Destiny 2, then be sure to check out that playlist below for more. But guys, I have been Divide, and this is your quick Warlock Stormcaller build updated for Season of the Lost in Destiny 2. For now, be sure to leave a rating, subscribe and share for more, and for now, give this one a try, and I'll catch you all very soon for the next one.